What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt Wyatt. I'm going to show you my update on my physical media for my 4K Blu-ray movies that I've bought from 2024. Now, look, I'm a physical media collector, and lately I have not been buying a lot of 4K Blu-ray movies, especially some of the classics that got a 4K transfer. Most of them have been very expensive, throughout the summer, I managed to get some of the best deals, and luckily I was able to claim some of the best ones. And I've been having a hard time trying to buy these latest movies that I love that came out in 2024, and I will get them eventually. But most of the time I've been buying some of the movies that I've been wanting to upgrade on 4K. Here's the movies that I have bought so far. First off, I got Oppenheimer on 4K Blu-ray. You already know that this is one of my top 10 favorite movies of 2023. I love this movie so much. It was such a great ensemble cast. Cillian Murphy won an Academy Award for Best Actor. Robert Downey Jr. won for Best Supporting Actor, and it really broke the cycle of him trying to break away from outside of the MCU. Because when he got a lot of roles that were outside of the MCU, they have been a miss after miss after miss. And luckily that Robert Downey Jr. got a great role working with Christopher Nolan. And I thought he was the best part of the movie, really. He basically got a lot of these all-star casts. They told a true story about the Oppenheimer, who was the creator of the atomic bomb, showing you two characters' side of the story during a courtroom drama with Oppenheimer and Strauss, that was played by Robert Downey Jr. Because in the color version, it's taking place in the past, and it's telling from a perspective with Oppenheimer in the movie in a colored version, and with Strauss, played by Robert Downey Jr., who was also facing a lawsuit, telling from a different time, not in the chronological order, but you're seeing his side of the story in a black and white form. And I thought that visually it was genius. Sure, in the first time was a lot to unpack and a lot to understand, but the more you watch it, the better it gets. I wanted to get this because I want to watch some of the 70 millimeter format that he filmed that were so beautiful and breathtaking. And this is a must own on 4K Blu-ray, and it has a lot of great special features that I highly recommend. If you love Oppenheimer, I recommend getting this. And this won an Academy Award for Best Director for Christopher Nolan and Best Picture. This is his best film since Interstellar and Inception. Next up, I got Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2. I straight up bought this movie when it came out in stores at the time when Target was still selling physical media. And most of you already know that this is my favorite film of 2024. I talked about it, how much I loved it. I talked about it in my top 10 list, my best movies of 2024, even in my review. This is definitely the best film that we've seen in the last decade. A great, truly science fiction spectacle movie with a great story, great character depth, especially with the performances of the whole cast. Timothy Chalamet brought a strong presence on screen that I never thought he'd be capable of doing. He's had a great year for movies, especially coming off with Dune Part 2 and then now A Complete Unknown, which I still need to check out that movie so badly. And especially with Zendaya. Zendaya had another great year for movies when she was coming from Dune Part 2. She had another movie that came out that I loved, was Challengers. This delivered a grand spectacle. The visual effects were chef's kiss. The music score for Hans Zimmer, beautiful. I loved it from beginning to end. I thought they did a great job of wrapping the story, and it sets up for Doom Messiah. And I'm dying to see what he's going to do with Doom Messiah. I can't wait. And I've never read the books. I've never read them, so I'm going into completely blind as possible. Denis Villeneuve is already becoming one of the best directors in Hollywood today. Now, next up, I got True Lies on 4K Blu-ray. Now, look, I know that most people are criticizing the 4K transfer, but it's not a bad transfer. It's not Terminator 2 bad 4K upscale. I understand the criticism that parts of it felt very too cleaned up and it didn't look like it was shot on film. It felt like he tried to modernize it, and some of the skin tone looked like too much of a plastic at times, and it's a little bit noticeable, but it's not too distracting, and it was not enough to ruin the movie for me. This is the most underrated action films that James Cameron has made, that this became more of a cult following, really. Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger was such a great together on screen. You're following the story about Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is living a double life, who is a spy, who is going out to save the world, fighting the terrorists, and while he's living a secret life where he's just like pretending to be a mediocre like insurance salesman, and and his family doesn't even know about it. And later we find out that Jamie Lee Curtis have a secret of her own. And and things start to escalate when their two worlds start to collide. And I thought it was great. It delivered the humor. Tom Arnold, who is Arnold Schwarzenegger's partner in the movie, steals the spotlight. And Fox did not want to get him in that movie until James Cameron had a vouch for him. And this is probably the best role that Tom Arnold has been in, period. I mean, I wish that James Cameron did another True Lies, but there were plans that they were going to do another one. And this movie came out 30 years ago. God, man, I feel so old. I remember watching this in the late 90s, and then I watched it as an adult when it came on cable at the time. And this was one of the lost medium that they only put it out on DVD, and you were only going to get your hands on DVD only, and you couldn't get this on streaming at the time, and they didn't even try to upgrade it to the 1080p Blu-ray. But recently, James Cameron had decided to get this out and actually make this in the 4K Blu-ray and for everyone to own, especially put it out on streaming on Hulu. Now that 20th Century and Disney now have the rights to it, and James Cameron was able to put this out and open for everybody to have access to it. And I'm just happy that I own True Lies. Now, next up, I got another James Cameron film, The Abyss. Now, this is a better 4K transfer than the rest of them, honestly. This I saw this in theaters when they re-released it for the special edition in Dolby Cinema, and I watched it with a big, large audience. It was a packed theater when I watched this movie. I only remember watching The Abyss, the theatrical cut, like years ago when it was on HBO, and I simply don't remember much of it at the time. And watching the special edition, this is essentially more of the extended cut of James Cameron, which mostly the ending had added more scenes that were cut out in the cutting room floor. And I thought the ending was so powerful and moving, and it had a great, powerful message. The cast was brilliant. The visual effects and the CG was so incredible and groundbreaking. And this is a movie that we don't often get a movie like this again. And I've heard a lot of the controversy going on behind the scenes that most of the cast members nearly died during that event when they were shooting this film. I don't know the whole story. I'm just simply telling you what I've been hearing for a while. But this is another great, one of the best original unique of an alien contact film. But this is not really focusing more on the aliens. It's focusing on more on the characters, and you love them and their stakes. It was not afraid to pull any punches. It knows how to put you on the edge of your seat and makes you stress out, and you're rooting for them to survive. And I thought that this movie is a masterpiece. I felt the magic, I felt the heart and the wonder and the awe. And I wish we can continue to get more movies like this, that we go into this movie for an experiential event. Watching this in the theater with an audience was such an incredible experience, that movies like this that we don't often get. And if you love The Abyss and you're a fan of James Cameron, definitely buy this on 4K Blu-ray. This is a better 4K transfer, period. And it's got a lot of great special features on the disc as well. And I recommend just watch the special edition, because this is a better cut of the film. Now, last but not least, I have the 1996 of a disaster film called Twister with Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. I grew up in the 90s. I remember going to Blockbuster, watching this film and loving it. And it's one of my childhood movies growing up. I still watch it every year. It's one of my comfort movie of a summer Blockbuster film. And what they did with the sequel of Twisters that came out 2024, loved it, and it was a great standalone sequel, and I can't wait to get my hands on the 4K Blu-ray. But this 4K transfer is day and night. And some people might get turned off by some of the color grading that they change in that sequence when we see Bill Paxton standing out in the open, and especially carrying on the dirt and spilling it, and you see the dark clouds with green, that there's a tornado coming. Get why they did that, because they wanted to make the scene more authentic, especially when you see a tornado coming, there's a green cloud coming your way, and you know it's about to come. And how they did the lighting, the HDR, the Dolby Vision was beautiful. How they did the contrast and the color grading, and it felt very modernized, especially when you're seeing the Twister sequence coming near towards the truck, and how they did it, it was not as noticeable. But if you watch it on the 1080p Blu-ray version, it gets a little bit noticeable when you're watching in the high definition, especially with the lighting. But they definitely fixed up the lighting. They didn't alter anything, so don't worry about that. I think that WB Entertainment is the best company to do a lot of these 4K transfers for these classic movies like Twister itself. it still holds up. Yeah, sure, there's gonna be a lots of laws of physics that don't make any lot of sense, and you're gonna have to turn your brain off. But it still delivered the heart, the thrill ride, and you love the Storm Chasers. The cast members were incredible. Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt truly carried the film. And R.I.P. to Bill Paxton and Philip Seymour Hoffman that were such one of the great actors working in Hollywood. It's such a bummer that we'll never see them reprise their role again for the franchise, The Twister. But you know what? It is what it is. Yeah, this is a movie that I watch every year during the summer. I still think it's still an entertaining. It's one of my comfort movies to watch. And if you're someone who don't own the physical copy of Twister, I recommend getting this on 4K Blu-ray and not the 1080p Blu-ray. This is my high recommendation. In the special features, they got the commentary by the director himself. They have the HBO first look of the making of Twister. They have the music video of the Van Halen song "Humans Being" from the movie. The music video slaps. I love the song. It was a banger. Soundtrack of this movie was absolutely awesome. And I remember going to Universal Studios, going on the Twister ride, seeing that event was absolutely an incredible experience. I went to that ride many times every time I went to go to Universal Studios in Florida. And it sucks that they don't have that anymore. But you know what? It is what it is. Yeah, I recommend get your hands on this on the 4K Blu-ray if you love the original Twister. Now you've seen my collection. Thank you so much for watching my video. There's still a few more 4K Blu-ray movies that I got coming in the mail very soon that I will show off for this month of physical media update. And I don't know how much I'm going to be getting this year. I might not get as much. I might get more along the way from later this year for 2025, but keep an eye open. And keep an eye open for some of the digital copies that I will be sharing. Not all of them. There's still some digital copies that I have that I will be using for things that I don't own in my digital library, and some of them that I will be adding to the library for the upgrade to the 4K. But I've already had all those, and I already bought it on physical media. I will definitely share it and give it to you for free. Keep an eye open for that, and turn on the bell notification so you know when it comes up. I can't tell you when. It might happen at any moment. So that's why I turn on the bell notification so you don't miss it. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And my goal is to reach 500 subscribers. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel and watching me through the past a couple of years. I really appreciate it. And if you want to follow my social media links, the link tree will be down in the description down below. And I hope you guys have a great day, great evening, wherever you're from, and stay tuned for more of my content.